The Florim USA Inc. Code of Ethics policy was created on September 22nd, 2020. Simply talking about ethical principles is not very useful. You have to earn the trust of others with your actions every day. I'd like to discuss the introduction on the Code of Ethics. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about various aspects of our Code of Ethics. We're going to discuss the mission, our vision, our values, and kind of review some of the highlighted areas of our policy. First of all, the introduction. Our Code of Ethics expresses the set of values, standards of conduct, and principles of corporate policy that Florim USA Inc. and its subsidiary Florim Solution Inc. recognize as its own. It is intended that these standards be used in decision-making at all levels of the company. The rules of conduct declared here contribute to implementing Florim's policy of social responsibility in compliance with fundamental human rights and protection of human dignity, while also taking into account the need to protect our natural resources and heritage in alignment with the parent company, Florim Ceramica SPA Benefit Corporation. Let's review the Code of Ethics course outline. We're going to discuss the Florim mission, the Florim vision, our values, parties to the Code of Ethics, relationships with employees, external relationships, safety and health of workers, environmental responsibility, protection of company assets and information, company information, conflict of interest, internal controls, violation of the Code of Ethics, and whistleblowing. Florim's mission is to produce high-quality porcelain tiles with design as our passion. Through our continuous investments in the most current and eco-friendly production technologies, we are able to manufacture tiles subject to and targeting all market segments. Florim USA Inc. does this while being forever dedicated to the environment, meeting the needs of its customers and creating value not only for shareholders and employees, but also the local community. We have and continue to build upon a strong history and culture of integrity by continually respecting the ethical principles and rules of conduct outlined in the company Code of Ethics. The vision of Florim is to be on the cutting edge of technical and aesthetic innovation in ceramics, researching materials and production methods that make us a constant benchmark for customers, architects, and competitors. Florim's values are broken into 4 different areas. First, we have honesty and respect. All internal and external relationships must be based on honesty and respect for rules and dignity of the individual. Second is sustainability. Projects consistent with corporate social responsibility must be promoted through measures and practices adopted to support the local environment and community. The third, quality and innovation. Excellence must be pursued through a constant commitment to improving products, processes, and skills to promote corporate success. And fourth is passion for one's work, beauty, and design, with pride in being a part of one big team made up of the company, associates, customers, and suppliers. Continuing with our values, every employee is individually responsible for being aware of the worth and consequences of their own actions, and for working in accordance with the values and guidelines established by our parent company, Florim Ceramica. Beauty. Florim USA is synonymous with Italian flair and American capabilities, a focus on details and a passion for art and design. Beauty is a constant benchmark, an ethical imperative, a moral commitment to people. Employees are on the front line in making this standard, which must be expressed through their work and embrace the product's creation, the way it is marketed, and the high quality of the company's locations. Simplicity. By this we mean clarity in communication to ensure a clear understanding between us and with the outside world. Simplicity is beautiful, useful, and right. Misunderstandings and unnecessary complications must always be avoided. It is a personal goal of every employee to reduce complexity and increase simplicity in every activity and relationship, avoiding exaggeration and a self-serving approach and in relations between colleagues to maintain the right internal climate and swift action and reaction essential in today's world. Humility. It conveys a sense of collaboration and the ability to listen and to constantly put the team first, setting aside any wish to stand out or appear superior to others. Humility means having the courage and moral strength needed to identify and embrace changes, difficulties, and challenges, and to benefit from all the opportunities they offer. Humility, not arrogance, is the true measure of character and self-confidence. Arrogance is the only most obvious way of revealing one's insecurity and weakness. Let's discuss relationship with employees. We have 5 different categories in this section. First of all, we'd like to start with general principles. General principles of relationships with employees are based on honesty and good faith. We at Florim strive to protect its employees' moral integrity by guaranteeing the dignity of employees and operating in compliance with human and work rights, according to any applicable regulations and good business practices. All actions and transactions, negotiations, and other functions executed in performing the business is inspired by the principles of honesty, fairness, integrity, transparency, legitimacy, clarity, and reciprocal respect. The second category is personnel recruitment. Florim has standardized personnel recruitment practices that meet the principles and values described in the Code of Ethics. The third category, fairness, good faith, and integrity. Employees are required to perform their jobs using the general principles of fairness, good faith, and integrity. Florim prohibits employees to receive or give cash, gifts, assets, services, favors, or any item of value, not including small tokens of courtesy, from customers, suppliers for the purpose of influencing decision-making. Florim strictly prohibits any kind of harassment or discrimination of any kind, whether it's regarding an internal or external relationship. The fourth category is use of alcohol and drugs. Florim has a strict substance abuse policy that prohibits the use of alcohol and drugs. And finally, the last category is smoking. In regards to non-smoking, we are in compliance with all state legislation in the workplace. The Code of Ethics specifically discusses external relationships. In this section, we have 5 categories of external relationships. Number 1, relationships with our customers. Each party is required to perform their jobs with efficiency, competence, professional, and transparency, to provide comprehensive and truthful information about the products and services provided, to use an honest and clear approach, preference to written form over verbal whenever possible, to act in compliance with the law, and to ensure confidentiality. Number 2, relationships with vendors. The same behavior regarding relationships with customers should be applied when selecting vendors and their relationships with them. Each party should also, A, use conduct inspired by fairness and transparency, B, use uniform assessment criteria in selecting vendors, ensuring equal opportunity and dignity, C, require compliance with employment and health and safety laws on the part of vendors who supply labor, and D, maintain the relationships already established. The third category, I'd like to discuss the relationships with the government. Relationships with the government are held to the high standards of cooperation. There are several areas of concern that are prohibited when engaging in a relationship with the government. A, to directly or indirectly accept, promise, or offer undue cash, gifts, services, or favors. B, to exhibit false documents or documents containing false or altered information. And C, to engage in misleading conduct. Number 4, the relationships with the media. All relationships with the media will be maintained by a representative who has been specifically identified by the company management. And last, number 5, relationships with political, social, and other organizations. Florim supports the wellness and growth of the community and contributes to organizations while remaining in compliance with applicable laws. The next few sections of the Code of Ethics are very simple, just basic paragraphs. I'll just explain them in a short summary. Safety and health of workers. Florim strives to promote a culture of health and safety, ensuring that all employees have an understanding of the risks involved in the job, and that Florim recommends the use of preventative actions to preserve the health and safety of our workers. Environmental responsibility. Florim promotes environmental sustainability, and we are mindful of natural resources management, such as waste segregation, recycling, energy conservation, and efficient transportation management. Protection of company assets and information. Employees are required to safeguard the company assets to include intangible assets, information and data, property, plant and equipment, technological resources and tools. In addition, employees are required to protect information technologies and the electronics of the company. Let's talk about company information. Florim implements administrative, accounting, and financial policies aimed at protecting the interests of customers, suppliers, and all stakeholders of the company. The company accounting system is designed to ensure that every financial monetary transaction is recorded with respect to the principles, criteria, and methods of preparation and maintenance of accounting dictated by GAAP and prevailing law. In this section, let's discuss the conflict of interest. Employees must abstain from performing activities that could conflict with the company's interests or which can interfere with impartial decision-making. Florim understands that employees have the right to participate in investments, business dealings, or other activities outside of those carried out in the interest of the company. Florim prohibits the following activities that can be considered a conflict of interest, but are not limited to the following situations. Number 1, performing management functions, having monetary and financial interests, or providing professional services of any type with competitor companies or rival businesses. Number 2, using their position to achieve interests in conflict with those of the company. Number 3, concluding, executing, or initiating dealings and or contracts in the name of and or on behalf of the company, which can bring personal advantages or accepting cash or other benefits or favors from individuals or legal entities that intend to enter into business relationships with the company. Internal controls. Florim has internal controls in place to guide, verify, and pursue the company business. Employees, to the best of their abilities, need to, number 1, contribute to the correct functioning of the control system. Number 2, be responsible custodians for the company assets, tangible or intangible, and not make improper use. Violation of the Code of Ethics and whistleblowing. The Code of Ethics is administered by the Ethics Committee, which is appointed by the Board of Directors. The committee is responsible for, number one, supervising the compliance with and updating the Code of Ethics and the governance model. Two, supervising the effective dissemination of Florim's ethical principles and values. Three, clarifying any confusion regarding interpretation and application. The committee is comprised of the following members: President, Florim USA Inc., Human Resources Manager, Payroll Manager, and the Environmental Manager. Anyone that learns of alleged violation or conduct that does not comply with the rules of conduct must immediately notify their direct supervisor and the HR department and/or the Ethics Committee. The Ethics Committee can be notified by the following channels: email, which is ethics@florimusa.com, or ordinary mail, which would be addressed to Ethics Committee, Florim USA Inc., 300 International Boulevard, Clarksville, Tennessee, 37040. Every alleged violation will be kept in strict confidence in line with prevailing regulation and to safeguard the whistleblower's anonymity, to protect them from any form of pressure, threats, or retaliation. The committee will investigate the allegations, and the following method and style of discipline that may occur could be: 1, verbal warning; 2, written warning; 3, performance improvement plan; 4, suspension without pay; and 5, termination. The method and type of discipline imposed will be based on the facts and severity of the violation. The company reserves the right to depart from these progressive disciplinary guidelines and/or immediately terminate any employee in its sole discretion based on the severity of the violation. Adoption of the Code of Ethics and updates. The Code of Ethics has been approved by the Board of Directors of Florim USA Inc. Any changes and/or updates to this document must be approved by the board and will promptly be communicated to all employees.